This same dude who happens to be white gets traded to the Lakers. Everybody wants to go there. And you're the Lakers and you get him and all you had to give up was Anthony Davis, a couple of players, and a pick.
Son ain't right.
They bring up the fact that Mikal Bridges, in order for the Knicks to get him, they had to give up 5 first-round picks. When it comes to LeBron, when it comes to Clutch Sports, when it comes to the Lakers, when it comes to Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks and their relationship with Luka Doncic. Remember, Rob Pelinka makes the deal, calls Anthony Davis first. After that, he called Rich Paul. After that, he called LeBron James. Nico Harrison still hasn't spoken to Luka Doncic. And their attitude is, but you got Luka Doncic for less to be a Laker? It's very suspicious, Stephen A. It's very suspicious. I can't say they're lying. It is very suspicious.
Speak that business, Stephen. You know what's up.
Would say, however,
Stephen A. Smith reacts to the AD and Luka trade. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
It smells. Now, I could have said that on national TV all morning. But we had to get the business of basketball out the way. You would imagine that this should not have happened. You don't see a 25-year-old superstar get traded even before he's reached his prime. You just don't hear that.
I agree.
Now, full disclosure, I've spoken to numerous folks from both sides, the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks.
Of course.
And you hear stuff like Luka Doncic coming in camp, 30 pounds overweight, looking fat, looking lazy, looking sloppy, that kind of thing. You've heard that before. You think about Nico Harrison, the president of basketball operations and general manager for the Dallas Mavericks. This is a dude that played at West Point. He's got a military background. As a Nike executive for 19 years, he worked with Jordan and Kobe and LeBron and Jason Kidd and others. He knows what champions are made of. And he knows what they've got to have inside of themselves in order to become champions. You ask anybody that worked with MJ or worked with Kobe, they tell you the same thing that Nico Harrison would probably tell you. Michael Jordan wins a championship. A week later, he's back in the gym. What's up? What we need to do to get better? No slippage. Everybody's shooting for me. Kobe Bryant wins championship, same attitude. He loses a championship. He doesn't wait a week. He's in the gym the next day. Luka, who knows where he was?
Regardless, Luka could have been in Slovenia. You don't trade Luka Doncic. I think he gets it together. He wanted to stay in Dallas, bought a crib, according to Stephen A. Smith, a $12 million mansion. I don't think that's someone that wanted to leave, but there were rumblings of him having conversations with the front office that he's not going to sign back and he wants to go to the Lakers. So I guess he's refuting that. There's other reports that are refuting what he's saying. So this whole Luka thing is insane. I don't think you trade Luka. He would have figured it out, in my opinion. But at least you got AD, you got Max Christie, you got a win-now team that should be able to compete, not only this year, but at least for the next few years. So it is what it is. They had to do what they had to do, but I'm not trading Luka Doncic.
Clearly wasn't taking care of himself and having himself in peak condition, which is something he openly admitted. But one would imagine,
trading him.
With all of that being said, why do you do this? Because this is where it gets interesting, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where there is no escaping this reality. You're going to have critics out there looking at this trade, and they're saying, I had somebody who's a Hollywood superstar but knows his basketball. He presented this question to me. He'll remain nameless because they don't want people to know who they are. But he asked this question. He says, Stephen A., so let me get this straight. This brother averages 28 points per game for his career. In the regular season, only 2 people have averaged more points per game than he has in history. Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan. In the postseason, there's only 1 player that has averaged more points per game than Luka Doncic. That person would be Michael Jordan.
Interesting.
And you're trying to tell me, Stephen A., that this dude, who is a global iconic superstar, a brand in and of his own self, this same dude who is averaging 28 a game, who's been all NBA first team 5 times in the first 7 years of his career, this same dude who happens to be white gets traded? And Stephen A. gets traded to the Lakers?
People still don't believe this trade happened, even though it was a few days ago. I think the NBA world is still in shock. If you follow basketball, you know how valuable Luka is. Yeah, he may be out of shape. Yeah, he may weigh 400 pounds. He can lose the weight. He can lock in and deliver a championship to the Mavs. Well, that's what I thought. You give Luka another 4 or 5 years, You got this team intact with Kyrie and Clay, and you're adding parts on the go. Why not give Luka an opportunity to, come back in this season, hopefully, injury free or get healthy from the injury and try to compete again? It would have been a tough road for them to get back to the finals, but regardless, I'm keeping Luka for at least another 4 or 5 years, unless he suffers some major injury and then he won't never be himself again. But other than that, you keep Luka by any means necessary.
Everybody and their mother wants to get traded to the Lakers. Southern California sunshine, that weather, the Laker brand, and the kind of way that can magnify and proliferate your brand and allow it to explode. Everybody wants to go there. And you're the Lakers, and you get him, and all you had to give up was Anthony Davis, a couple of players, and a pick.
Son, ain't right.
They bring up the fact that Mikal Bridges, in order for the Knicks to get him, they had to give up 5 first-round picks. They give up the assets that had to be surrendered to get Karl Anthony Towns. They give up the assets that had to be surrendered to get Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, for Luka to be traded pretty much straight up, all-star, superstar, whatever you want to call AD, Max Christie, and a pick. I think the Mavs, they kind of didn't really get the full value that they could have got from Luka. If Rudy Gobert got all those draft picks when he got traded, Paul George and multiple other star players, way less than Luka, for the Mavs to just get those players and a pick, something ain't right. Was this bigger than Luka and the Lakers? Is this something involving the Mavs? Are they not trying to be a good team? What's really going on? Did they not want to pay Luka the $345 million Supermax extension? Could that be a part of it? Maybe feel as though, hey, he's injury prone. He's not taking the game serious. But even him not taking the game serious, he's still averaging 30 plus points per game in the conversation as far as offensively with Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, as far as points per game in a season. I think the Mavs prematurely gave up on Luka Doncic. I think you bite the bullet and you pay him that money. And worst case scenario, maybe 2-3 years in the contract, I think you can still trade Luka Doncic, and you probably would have got more for him if you decide to move from him years from now. But something ain't right with the Mavs. The truth needs to be exposed.
And their attitude is, but you got Luka Doncic for less to be a Laker? It's very suspicious, Stephen A. It's very suspicious. I can't say they're lying. It is very suspicious.
Speak that business, Stephen. You know what's up.
I would say, however, Anthony Davis is an all-world player himself. He ain't box office like Luka.
Still
he
a
ain't
good
that
player.
global iconic brand like Luka, but he does average 25 and 12. He is one of the elite big men in the game of basketball. He does exponentially improve and increase their defensive prowess in Dallas. They are in better position to win a championship. They're a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers, even with LeBron and Luka Doncic as presently constructed in Los Angeles right now. All of those points are valid, but it still raises an eyebrow.
Now, again, the Mavs getting Anthony Davis, Max Christie. These are some very good players, a champion in AD. So he knows how to win at the highest level, but he is injury prone. So you basically got someone that's 7 years older than Luka, that's more injury prone than Luka, but you didn't get multiple first round draft picks. So you pretty much got a straight up trade. Again, no disrespect to AD, but I would look at other teams. There was rumors that they only looked at the Lakers as far as making this trade. Maybe it was because of Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka relationship. Maybe this was kept behind the scenes. I find it hard to believe that LeBron and Clutch Sports Rich Paul didn't know about this, but things could happen. I kind of believe they may have known something. Maybe they were looking to make a major trade and AD had to be a part of that trade, but they didn't know how it would go down. So again, something is fishy with this trade. Something's going on with that Mavs organization, and it's just a matter of time until the world finds out.
And makes you say, how the hell did this happen?
How did it happen, Stephen?
How the hell did this happen? How does Luka Doncic, remember, Chris Paul was supposed to be a Laker with Kobe Bryant years ago. Then Commissioner David Stern nixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had consulted with folks. It just seemed too Laker friendly. And Stern wasn't having it. That is not what Adam Silver, his successor as commissioner of the NBA, did with this particular deal. And I'm not saying he should have done anything. I'm just saying that there are people out there right now that are suspicious as hell. And yeah, he wasn't in the greatest of shape. Yeah, he needed to take better care of himself conditioning wise. Yeah, he has his own medical team and, whoever else he has, including his daddy, and the level of control that they wanted to exercise, they weren't able to do that. And let's not forget the 5-year, $345 million he was due with the Supermax coming up this summer.
A lot of money.
And how it's punitive. And the Mavs with new ownership, because I believe if this was Mark Cuban still owning a majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks, this doesn't happen. I don't believe Mark Cuban is moving Luka Doncic. Not the Mark Cuban I know.
Yeah, that's something to think about as well. Mark Cuban sold his majority ownership stake in the Mavs. Believe it was about 73%. When Mark Cuban was involved, was the majority owner, you didn't really hear about stuff like this. You never heard about Luka Doncic may be traded. Maybe people bring up stuff, but all that's not going on with Mark Cuban. So by Mark Cuban losing that majority ownership stake, you got another group in there that may not care about basketball as much as Mark Cuban, that just decided, you know what, we don't want to pay all that money to Luka. We got other things in store for the Mavs, and maybe Luka didn't fit their agenda, their long-term agenda. So you got to bring that up as well, the Mark Cuban factor, the 345 Supermax contract.
But the Adelson family now runs the Dallas Mavericks. And they don't have to consult with Mark Cuban in order to make a deal like this.
No, they don't.
And so because of that, they chose to make this move. Because they think a little bit differently. Mark Cuban, I don't know about Mark Cuban being a liberal and them being Trump supporters. People have been talking about that. I don't know what political affiliation they have.
Don't matter.
Would it surprise me being down there in Texas?
I'm still keeping
Would it
Luka.
surprise me? But who the hell knows? In the end, it is what it is. Luka Doncic is in Los Angeles. Luka Doncic is now the face of the Lakers franchise. LeBron James has to take a back seat.
On the way out?
I've been told he could care less. Doesn't matter to him. He wants to take a backseat to Anthony Davis. So he damn sure ain't going to mind taking a backseat to Luka Doncic. He's LeBron James. He'll find a way to get his. One would assume that's true. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of interesting twists that come with this. When it comes to LeBron, when it comes to Clutch Sports, when it comes to the Lakers, when it comes to Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks and their relationship with Luka Doncic. Remember, Rob Pelinka makes the deal, calls Anthony Davis first. After that, he called Rich Paul. After that, he called LeBron James. Nico Harrison still hasn't spoken to Luka Doncic.
Luka pissed.
Jason Kidd said he couldn't catch him.
Nobody
from ownership in Dallas, from my understanding, they didn't even try to speak to him. Maybe Mark Cuban did. A lot of interesting nuggets. What does this mean for the Lakers? What does this mean for the Mavericks? What does this mean for the NBA?
Again, this whole Luka trade to the Lakers, the Mavs looking real sketchy right now. I think Stephen A. Smith may have an idea, but he's just trying to play it corporate. He doesn't really want to go too far out. But there's more layers to this story, more layers to this trade. Hopefully Stephen A. Smith finds more information. There's many people out there that are bringing up, some type of stuff going on with the Mavs. I got some videos on my page. You definitely want to check that out because I'm going to figure out what's going on and why the Mavs traded Luka to the Lakers. Something ain't right, and I hope it gets exposed in the very near future.